So I hope you enjoyed dinner. The main event of the evening now are the McGovern Awards. And the concept behind the McGovern Awards, as you all know, is clinical excellence and really the unappreciated heroes among us. Sort of my heroes of clinical medicine, like Brian, who take great care of patients but don't always get the appropriate recognition. I figure as each year goes by, fewer and fewer of you, unfortunately, will have had a chance to work with Brian and care for patients with Brian. So I'm going to just describe a little bit about his personality and his character. He had a really unique blend of very appealing characteristics. He was very smart. He was, I think, top of the class in everything he ever did. But he had an extraordinary humility that was mixed in with that and lack of pretense. He worked incredibly hard. He saw more patients than just about any other two clinicians that I know. But he always had a very good nature. He always did it with a smile on his face and kind words to the people that he were around. And he had a great sense of humor, and he was also a pretty irreverent person as well. So he had a little bit of skepticism towards authority. But I think what everyone who worked with Brian would agree was his defining characteristic was his great way of just connecting with the people that he worked with. And that could apply to a patient, a nervous patient, but it could also apply to a stressed or a harried colleague. He really had a great knack of feeling like you were important to him. And he was also an extremely, extremely dedicated father and loved his family dearly. He had two daughters, Katrina and Deirdre, his wife Ann, who I've mentioned tonight, his mom and his brother. He was very close to them all. He had this great gift of making you feel both important and befriended, and it's a wonderful trait, and it really helps make you a good doctor. So when he died tragically at the hospital at work, we decided, as we were contemplating the notion of physician recognition, that it would be appropriate to honor physicians in the name of Brian McGovern and honor them for clinical excellence. Because again, as I think Nestle stated so well, for everything we do in medicine with technology and procedures and advancing the field, the way we treat our patients and each other is what sets the really exemplary doctors among us apart from the others. So we're now going to award the awards. There's 3 of them. And prior to getting to that, I'd like to acknowledge the McGovern Award recipients that are among us tonight. Please hold your applause till I get through all the names, but we're very happy to have a strong group of the prior 11 recipients with us, and I'll read off their names. Nestle Bazgaz, you've seen already, Hassan Bazari, Charlie Boucher, Dan Duty, John Godine, A.K. Goodman, Fran Hornacek, and Laura Riley. So give them all a big hand. I also want to make a special comment on my good friend Ira Stepanian and his wife Jackie, to thank them. Ira, as I mentioned earlier, is a longtime MGH trustee, and both he and his wife have had important roles at the hospital and other parts of Partners over many, many years. And Ira came in his capacity as a trustee to this dinner in 2006. And afterwards came and made me an offer that I could not refuse, which was to make a very generous donation so that we could give not only a nice piece of crystal, but also a nice cash check to all the McGovern awardees, which I think really adds to the value of the recognition. It's not the Nobel Prize type money, but it's a very generous donation, and I think it's a really important add. So I'd really like to thank Ira particularly, and not only for that, but for everything that he's done over the years for the hospital. Thank you very much. Now, this year we had 117 nominations. You've seen many of the names and some of the quotes up on the screen. Let's see, when we get to giving the awards, Tim Ferriss did a lot of work in putting up some of the phrases into what's called a wordle, and he was very disappointed when I told him that my 12-year-old daughter is facile in this technology as well, because it took him most of one night to do it. All the awardees that were nominated, I should say, are inside the dinner program, and you've been seeing their pictures up there as well. The concept behind this award I think I've aptly described, but this Wordle I think puts it into sort of a graphic mode. And the idea behind this is the biggest words are the ones that were used most often in the nominating letters, and this actually represents computer representation of the adjectives and nouns from 66 pages of text. So the way we do these awards, we're going to stick to the pattern that we've had in the past. For each award, we will have a person that works directly with the awardee come up and say a few words from the nominating letters, and then we'll ask the award winners to come up onto the stage to receive the award. If you could all stay up here so we can do a group photo at the end, I would appreciate it. And I was advised to tell the next group of speakers that come up to make sure they get close enough to the mic that everyone can hear them. So we're going to start with one of our nursing leaders, Deborah Burke. One of the Associate Chief Nurses is going to come up and read some of the material from the nominations for our first award winner.
I'm delighted that this physician is one of the recipients of the Brian McGovern Clinical Excellence Award, and honored that Torch asked me to read some excerpts from the nomination letters. One of the letters just says that she is a diligent, hardworking, self-sacrificing, dedicated physician who routinely goes beyond expectations for her patients, their families, her colleagues, and anyone who comes to her for help. In our practice, she is the go-to person for difficult patient care issues. Another letter says, for the past 15 years, she has volunteered 2 weeks of her vacation time to serve as a physician on a pilgrimage to Lourdes, France, for hundreds of sick and handicapped adults and children. She accompanies the sickest of the sick on these flights, throughout the pilgrimage, and safely back home. Her compassion